Now what we're going to be making today is some real artisan bread. We're going to be making a French loaf. And I know all of us go to the store, we see those beautiful French loaves at the grocery store and we buy them and we think we're having real authentic French bread. But what I'm going to show you today is that that doesn't touch what you can make in your own kitchen. A French loaf is a lean dough, which means that it's not high in fat or sugar. So really the only ingredients that you have are flour, salt, yeast, and water. We want 1 pound, 9.5 ounces of this bread flour. Add some salt.
Okay.
So ½ an ounce is all we need for this French bread recipe. For our water, we want 110-degree water. So if you turn on the water, you want it to be warm enough for a baby's bath. So if the water is safe enough for your baby, then it's safe enough for the bread. Good? Okay, I'm just going to test it. That's perfect. You would feel safe bathing your baby in that water?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
That feels good.
If I had a baby. We're only going to need about 17 ounces. And then I'm going to start weighing out the yeast. I'm going to do about 3/8 of an ounce, because this is dry active yeast, and how you use it is you dissolve it with the water that's been brought to a temperature of 110. So you just add a portion of the water in with the yeast, and we're going to take a fork. I'll have you do this. Just mix it up until the yeast is dissolved. But once that's done, we can just add the rest of the water. And then we'll have our water together with all of our yeast.
Okay.
Perfect.
Looks good.
And we'll just add all of the liquid into the dry. And do this spoon. And you just want to toss it just enough so all the flour gets hydrated, touches some of the water, and we'll start forming the dough.
Okay.
Once all your flour is hydrated, we're ready to knead it. We're going to take some more bread flour and throw it on the bench. All right.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to get this as quickly as we can onto this bench so we can start kneading it. What you want to do is use your palm against the surface of the table.
Okay.
You're not necessarily pushing down, but across. And you're using that friction to build the gluten strands in the dough. Now, your other hand, just take these 3 fingers like this, and you're going to be flipping.
Okay.
So just flip the dough,
Push.
push. Flip the dough, push.
Okay. Should I
The
try
moment
it?
of truth.
Okay.
Okay, let me just make sure that we're
Up off this.
off
Okay.
and ready to go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Look, and you can be a little more aggressive with it. Get right in there and push it across the
Alright.
table, and then flip in this hand. Yeah, and take this hand
And roll
to
it that
flip
way.
it
Okay.
over. Yep. And you want to keep going. You'll know when it's done because it'll have this. Am I allowed to say this? This baby bum feeling.
Yeah.
You just feel it, and it's smooth. Okay, I'm gonna just check it out for you. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do as I'm getting this ready to ferment is grab that red bowl and spray a little bit of Pam in it, and then we'll set it in and let it ferment.
Okay.
We're just going to set that right in there. So we're just going to cover it and let it ferment.
Okay.
Now we can go get something to drink. All right, it seems like our dough has fermented really nicely. Let's just check on it. It's about doubled, maybe tripled in size. And if we push on it, it's not coming up. It's just sinking right in. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just grab a little bit of bread flour and set it out so we don't stick. And we'll just take it right out of the bowl. So what we're gonna do is just take this bench scraper, and I'll have you just cut it in half, and then we'll scale it to make sure that they're both even. It's going to be about 1 pound, 5 ounces each. Yeah. Very nice. Probably going to get this right on.
Well, let's see.
So I'll just take that. Check. Ooh, just 1/4. That's it. So what we want to do first is just kind of make it into a round. Get rid of as much of the air as we can. Then what we'll start to do is take the ends and just push it in. Pull it in and push down and it'll stick. And you're going to take it from all ends, so we're starting to form a ball. Once you feel like you've done a good job, I'm going to do a little bit more, you can go ahead and flip it around and just start pinching the bottom together. We can go ahead and set it on some parchment paper that we've prepared here. Just set a little bit of flour on there just to make sure that'll come off really nicely right there. The last thing we want to do is just sprinkle a little bit of bread flour on top. We're going to wrap this in saran wrap and we don't want it to stick at all.
Okay.
So after we've loosely covered our boules with the saran wrap, we're just going to set it aside. It'll usually take about 30 minutes for it to really reach its full volume. So our loaves have risen really nicely. Give it a little feel, Shauna, and you can feel that there's some CO2 buildup in there. You can feel that it's really light.
It's like a sponge.
Yeah. That's when you know that your dough's ready for the oven. So we're just going to add a more rustic look by adding a lot of flour. And now we're going to score it. The reason why we score it is because we want a place where the steam can escape. I'm just going to cut 3. Just one in the center, and one to the left, and one to the right.
Okay.
We're ready to bring these to the oven. Now we preheated the oven, and you can see in here, we added this pot so that we could throw some ice in there. The reason why we want to throw in some ice is so that there's some humidity. And then we'll be able to create that steamy environment that the bread needs in order to be able to really reach its full volume and have a nice, beautiful crust.
Okay. Ooh, look. Beautiful.
I'll walk them right over here. All right, so here are our perfectly baked French loaves. Because you know how they always talk about French bread, or bread in general, when you crunch it, if it has a good crunch, you know that it's a good loaf. When you crunch this, you're going to hear a crunch you've never heard before. I'm just going to take this, it's kind of hot. Clap. There we go. My first clap. We're going on to the next take. Alright. There we go. Sorry. There. I hated that one. Okay. Your hands aren't sticky. That's why we use the It's a wooden spoon. Okay. I just broke my hand. Cool.